Let's talk about having a baby in Puerto Rico.
Hey, we're the Meeses.
Hi. I first came to Puerto Rico in July. I found out I was pregnant.
Hi!
Hi. Is it recording? Isn't she pregnant?
Is she?
Yeah, we're pregnant.
Are you kidding me?
No. You want to see?
We're pregnant?
We're pregnant.
This was not part of Planned Puerto Rico. We bought a 5-passenger car.
We're pregnant.
Pregnant. That's why you wanted it recorded.
We're pregnant.
Glory be to God.
So, we thought, do we wait a year? Do we stay in Tennessee? Do we come right away? And so we got rid of everything within 6 or 7 weeks and we flew to Puerto Rico and we figured it out. So it took me about a month to find a doctor that would accept me.
I see an arrow. Do you? You know.
I know. They know.
What? They know? We all know. Everyone knows what we She just handed me this. I was like, do you want to take a picture video? We're buying a house. She's like, yeah, here, hold this. Cuatro barbones.
Congratulations.
Okay.
The reason why I highlight that and why I'm very happy with this particular OB is that in Tennessee, I went in for an appointment and I mentioned that I was moving and they wouldn't accept me and they wouldn't let me see the doctor because I wasn't going to deliver with them. So that's the first doctor I was turned away by. The second doctor was in Puerto Rico because he was retiring, and the third one was full, as in he wasn't accepting any more patients that were due in that month. And so that's 3 doctors that turned me away. And so this doctor finally said, yes, I'll take your case. Let's see the baby. As we were preparing and thinking about birth for this baby, we weren't sure how to navigate our other children at home because we had 3 children at home. So we thought, do we ask someone to come from Tennessee, some family to stay with the kids while we're in the hospital for a few days? And then we thought, what if there's a complication? Or what would it take? What would it look like if we had a home birth? So midwives are not well recognized in the island, particularly on the West Coast where we are. And so we kind of by a happen chance got connected to a midwife in Isabella, who's lovely, and she connected us to a midwife very close to me named Monica. And so Monica started making home visits and answering all my questions and walking me through birth, and we consulted with the OB to say, hey, am I cleared for a home birth? I want to make sure this is a good idea. What happens in the event of a medical transfer or an emergent situation? Or what if we need to induce? What if we need to induce because the baby's really late and it's no longer safe to be pregnant? So we created a plan with both the midwife and the OB, which is very rare and very special in Puerto Rico. And we got towards the end of pregnancy and we're at 42 weeks. I could get contractions started to 6 minutes apart, and then they would peter out, and I couldn't keep contractions going for whatever reason. And I thought, it's so strange that my first child was 42 weeks and we had to induce, and my 4th child is also 42 weeks. Most of the time, or at least they tell you, that the more kids you have, the quicker they come, the shorter the pregnancy. And that just wasn't my case. And so we decided to induce. We went to the hospital, and my midwife was planning to attend the birth as a doula. She's also a doula. And the OB agreed to that, which is a wonderful gift. However, here's where things got almost funny. My midwife, as a doula, was going to come and support me in the birth at the hospital. However, she got called away to another birth the same night. Her backup midwife was on the other side of the island and was able to help us translate or do phone support, but she couldn't be present with us. And then her backup doula was also at a birth, and that backup doula was also at a birth, which meant that John and I were alone in a hospital without the birth support that I felt that I really needed. So at this point, the kids at home have been with John's sister, who was in the last video, and she was wonderful and a joy to have. And we were hoping the baby would come while she was there, But it didn't turn out that way because Mateo was late. And so my mom was able to come, and her plan was to help me postpartum, but she was able to keep the kids while we were in the hospital. So John was able to be with me. And I love my husband. I love all dads who support their wives in birth. And I do want to highlight that birth is really traumatic for dads. It's a big deal. The person you love is in so much pain or is in so scared, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's a lot. Dads need coffee, breaks, take a walk, get sunshine, take a nap. And so I also extend that grace to my husband, which is why we've either had a doula or a friend or someone to support me in birth to help share that load for John so that he's able to better take care of me after birth. So we get to the hospital, we get checked in, and we haven't slept, and it's 1 a.m. And so within a few minutes of getting started with the medication, my water broke, and I felt like I peed all over the floor, and I was like a little puppy, and it felt so strange. I try to keep my calm, try to hold it together, tell myself that I'm brave, and I just feel terrified. And so John gets a little bit of rest, and I feel the urge to push, which is unusual. So with women that have had multiple children or multiparas, the babies come faster each time, which was my case as well, because my first labor was 50 hours, the second was half that at 24, the third was half that at 12, and this baby was also 6 hours, so it was half that. And so I told the nurse, I feel like I need to push. So she checked me and she said, no, you still have a while. And so I went to the bathroom and emptied my stomach a few times in the next hour, and I was so tired. I was sitting on a birthing ball, and I was leaning over the bed like this, and I had contractions every 4 minutes for 1 minute long, and I would fall asleep for 3 minutes, wake up for the contraction, breathe through it, and go back to sleep. And I don't know how long I did that for, of just falling asleep between contractions. And so I told the nurse, I just said, I feel like I need to push. Something feels, I'm feeling a lot of pressure. How close are we? And so she called the OB, and he called in and said that I could take a 30-minute break from the monitors, that everything had looked good, that baby was healthy, and that I was looking good. And John was asleep, so I decided to go and take a shower. And so when I stood up to use the bathroom before I took a shower, as I was getting undressed, I felt the baby drop. And I felt all these really hard contractions, and I thought, this doesn't feel right, something's not right. And I was really looking forward to the shower, hoping that the hot water would soothe and massage and help me with the intensity that I was feeling, but it just hurt more. So I got in the shower, turned on the water, I was trying to get in positions to be more comfortable, and I felt the baby drop. And so I yelled to John, I opened the door and I yelled out to him, and I said, I just need you right here. I need you right here outside the curtains. I'm scared. I don't want to be alone. I feel so scared. And it was kind of in those moments that I finally surrendered and prayed. And I said, okay, God, have mercy. I'm so scared. It's out of my control. I'm in so much pain. I can't handle this. I'm really scared. Have mercy. And John was standing outside the shower curtain, just groggy and waking up and trying to get his composure together. And I felt another contraction come, and the baby crowned. And I yelled to John and I said, the baby's coming. And so John runs into the hallway yelling, El baby viene. And the nurses come running into the room. And I caught Mateo standing in the shower by myself. And my only thought was, don't drop him, don't drop him.
So beautiful. Oh, let it out. Oh, yeah. Me too.
Oh, he's so beautiful.
Yeah.
You just got your own baby in the shower.
And so he immediately started crying, to my relief, that a crying baby is good. His umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck twice. So John rushes in with the nurse, and I'm naked in the shower holding half of a baby between my legs because he hasn't come out all the way. And the next contraction, the rest of the baby came out, and the nurse unwound the umbilical cord around him, and I held him to my chest, and John put my sweater on me because I was cold and wet, and the nurse was very sweet and very good at keeping us alive, and the nurse was, she is helping, the nurse is helping with the baby. John and I are kind of looking at each other in complete shock of what's happened, and the nurse says, necesito Sabana. And I thought, Sabana? The town next to us is Sabana Grande. Like, we're not in that town. Why are you talking about Sabana? And John was like, Sabana, what is that? What is that? And she looks at us and she says, sheet, go get sheet. And John thought she was just saying shit, like, oh shit, the baby's here. And I was like, sheet, like a sheep, like ba sheep? What, why are we talking about this? Oh, Sabana means bed sheet. She said she was trying to tell John, go and get the bed sheet. So we finally get that sorted out. John runs into the room, grabs a bed sheet. The nurse wraps the baby in the bed sheet, hands him to John, and she helps me clean up and get out of the shower and get into the bed with the baby and get warm. And so baby and Mateo and I get to snuggle and, try nursing and all these things. And about 15-20 minutes later, the OB walks in, despite the high of a new baby and the crazy birth story and all of those things. What weighed really heavy on my heart was that I felt so alone and so isolated, that my husband was exhausted and tired. He had to take care of himself before he could support me. It's cool. I didn't have any family with me. My midwife wasn't with me. My OB wasn't even with me. I was laboring in a foreign place alone. And essentially just walking into the hospital, even just leading up to 42 weeks, it was like I had been asked to relive the most personally traumatic experience by myself again, like voluntarily. And so thankfully we're on the other side, but this set the foundation of the postpartum work to come, which I'm still part of right now. So we brought Mateo home, and his brothers are in love and adore him.
He's going. He's yawning.
Yes, he is.
His eyes are closed.
What do you think of your brother?
His eyes are closed.
Hi.
So cute. He's opening his eyes.
Gentle touch, please.
He has blue eyes. Does he have blue eyes?
Most babies, when they're born, they have blue eyes first, and then sometimes it changes color. Okay, look. Want to hold your finger?
Should have blue eyes.
Here, give me your...
He's opened his eyes. He's opening his eyes. If you don't
Wait, wait.
one of his eyes is open.
Okay, hold. There you go, he's got Martin's finger.
I did not expect him to come out this tiny. Look, he's going to be so cute.
He was born on Holy Friday, the morning of Holy Friday, very early. So it was very special to finish Lent with a newborn baby in our arms and to bring him home on Holy Saturday night, the night, Pascha night. And so John was able to go across the street to our church and celebrate the Paschal feast, being sleep deprived of the baby and all those things. But he took one of our kids in the middle of the night to go celebrate the Paschal feast, which is just very rich. And our journey to Puerto Rico started dreaming in Paschal Tide and thinking, oh, what are we called to do? What are we meant to do? And so having this baby right in the middle of Holy Week and then Bright Week going through postpartum has been really bringing things full circle. That we've spent a whole liturgical year dreaming about Puerto Rico. And now we're here with our baby. So thanks be to God for all things. So we're just beginning the postpartum journey, and I'm reading a really beautiful Orthodox book that pairs postpartum with the first 40 days, which falls right in the middle of Paschal Tide for me as my postpartum time. So it's a real gift. Welcome to the world, Mateo Meese. so glad you're here. And thanks everyone for supporting us and loving us in our time in Puerto Rico and through this pregnancy and welcoming this baby into the world. We appreciate you so much.